let's say they don't trade up in this draft, because really, they probably shouldn't. They need to get 7 or 8 picks right, and you need as many opportunities as possible, because you're not going to hit on 75% of your picks, or even who knows. So if they stay at 11, let's talk about the options, the best potential picks for the 49ers there.
Iggy, I'd like first for you to go through. They have 11 picks, right? Tell
Mm-hmm.
me when each pick is, and then we could talk about them in order.
Okay, so they have 1 pick in round 1, it's 11. They have 1 pick in round 2, 43. I'm not going to use the word overall for obvious reasons. 2 picks in round 3, 75 and 100. 2 picks in round 4, 113 and 138, I believe. 2 picks in round 5, 147, 160. And then 3 picks in round 7. And I forget exactly what they are, like 220 something, 240, 252. Anyway, 3 picks in round 7, nothing in round 6. Those are 11 picks.
Okay. All right. Let's start with. So I want to preface this. Iggy is doing me a favor today. I have never really been that interested in college sports. Now I am even less interested, because I'll just stick with football for a minute. I don't think it's college sports. I think it's a joke. I think it's corrupt. I think it's colleges have always been the minor leagues for the NFL. Now it's even worse. I don't. I'm not even sure there's a term scholar athlete anymore. Maybe at Stanford. I want to laugh. I want to laugh about it. So what Iggy is doing me and maybe you a favor today. We're going to go through each 11 pick. He'll tell us, in his considered judgment, who the Niners might take, and then he'll tell us about that pick, what this person does, his name, what he does, and if Iggy knows anything about him. Okay, let's start with 11.
Okay, so let's start with offensive line. If they were to take an offensive tackle, they'd probably have. We talked earlier about Armand Membu from Missouri. He was projected in their range before the combine, but then he ran the fast 40-yard dash, and boom, he's projected to go in the top 7. The guy who probably will be there for them at 11 is Kelvin Banks Jr. from Texas. And what's interesting about him, he played left tackle in the SEC, which is the #1 conference at a good school, for 3 seasons, and was a really good college left tackle. He wasn't super fast at the combine. He's not that big, or his arms. He's a ordinary left tackle. Played really well in college, and some people think he'll be better at guard. So he's very controversial. Like, some people think good run blocker, but in pass protection, he might not. He's not going to be Trent Williams. He'll be better than Mike McGlinchey, but he could struggle against the best pass rushers in the NFL. So maybe if he might be better at guard, which is kind of a scary thought, taking him at 11. But for the Niners, for the way Kyle thinks, he's going to value run blocking more than pass protection, and he's going to value scheme fit. And this guy played for Steve Sarkisian, who runs a very similar offense to Kyle Shanahan. He was the offensive coordinator for the Falcons after Kyle was, and tried to keep the offense the same. So Kyle could be watching the film being like, man, if I draft this tackle right here, I could play him right away. I wouldn't have to teach him anything. And that's big for me, because a lot of players, a lot of young guys take a year to really understand all the verbiage of Kyle Shanahan's offense.
I love it. I find that very interesting. Okay.
So then there's like the tight ends, but I don't think this is really worth talking about.
No.
There's a guy from Penn State. He's big. If he falls, they shouldn't take him. But he's good. Let's talk defense. There's a bunch of defensive linemen they could potentially take, starting with like defensive ends. There's a guy named Michael Williams who went to Georgia, and he's built like Alden Smith. He's like 6'5", 265 pounds, really long arms. He's 20 years old. He's been starting for the best team in college football since he was 18. He was starting for them when they won the national championship as a rookie. Really good football player. It's just that he only had 9 sacks in college. So in 3 years. So it's like, okay, why? Well, none of the defensive linemen at Georgia really put up big numbers in college, but most of them come to the NFL and play really well. Okay, but does that mean this guy will? He wasn't super fast at the combine. He ran kind of slow. He doesn't have big numbers. but he played at Georgia and he's 6'5" and 265. So he's definitely a good run defender. He's a good football player. But if he comes out and gives you 5 sacks a year, you're going to hate that pick. And that's what he did in college.
Whoa, that's interesting.
So that's why they're thinking about trading up, because these guys that they're looking at, it's like, well, you almost look great, but you're not. There's another guy, Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M. He was incredible at the combine. He's 6'5", 270. He ran like a 4.59, off the charts. Like in terms of just testing, he was comparable to Myles Garrett, who's the number 1 defensive player in the league. You know Myles Garrett. Thing about him, though, in 3 years of college football, 4.5 sacks.
Oy.
Yeah. And he missed a lot of tackles, and he wasn't particularly good at anything. But he's got a lot of talent. And the Niners have this defensive line coach, Chris Kasarik, who likes bringing in guys like this because he thinks he can coach them up. 12 years ago, the Lions, when he was with the Lions, drafted a guy named Ziggy Ansah, who played at BYU, had 4.5 sacks at BYU, drafted him with the 5th pick, and they turned him into a really good player because he was an incredible athlete. But this guy, Shamar Stewart, is a straight-up project and might not be good at all. Might be Solomon Thomas.
I love it. You know, on draft day, they're going to say about him that he has upside. He has
Uh-huh.
upside.
But he might not be good at all. So those are 2 guys they could be choosing from at the end.
I love it. You know what it shows, Iggy? It shows that football is as complicated as life.
It really
It's
is. None of these guys are sure things. None of these. Even Abdul Carter, who I said was generational, he might be awful. Who knows what happens to him once he gets $30 million?
Okay. I love it.
There's more. I mean, there's a linebacker. They need a linebacker, right, to replace Dre Greenlaw, a guy named Jihad Campbell. All-time great name. Played at Alabama. Great player at Alabama. Went to the combine. Tore it up. It's just that he's a linebacker from Alabama. Last time the Niners took one of those in round 1, it was Reuben Foster. Didn't work out so well. Thing about linebackers from Alabama, they get worked really hard at that school. Nick Saban has very physical practices. A lot of times they leave the school with like their body's already broken down. And when Foster came to the Niners, his shoulder was already messed up, and they didn't know it at the time. And he had to have labrum surgery and all this stuff. Jihad Campbell just had surgery on his shoulder. He's out 6 to 8 weeks, months. So, I mean, they could take him, but you kind of don't want to take a guy with a medical red flag with the 11th pick in the draft.
I love it. I'm learning, Iggy. I love it.
Prize Picks is sponsoring the Cohn Zone this year. Prize Picks is the leader in daily fantasy and the best place to win cash while watching sports. And the best part about the app is it's really easy to use. To create a lineup, all you have to do is pick more or less on a few players' stats. I'm a Niners guy. So, you know, when I'm doing Prize Picks, I'm looking, the last couple of years, I'm looking at Deebo Samuel because I know Deebo Samuel better than Deebo Samuel knows Deebo Samuel. So if it's like drops, I'm taking more. Or if it's like punches thrown towards his long snapper on the sideline during the 4th quarter of a game, the 49ers will go on to win. I'm smashing more because I know the 49ers and I'm a Prize Picks guy. Now, maybe they didn't have those exact plays, but they have so many plays that'll make your head spin. And you can play Prize Picks in over 40 states, including California and Texas. Best part about it is the new user offer. Prize Picks will give you $50 when you play your first $5 lineup. So win or lose, you'll get $50 just for playing. That sounds like a win to me. Use promo code Cohn, COHN, to claim your $50 today. Tell him Grant sent you. Yeah. Okay, there's another guy. Defensive tackle from Ole Miss, Walter Nolan. He looks, when he's rushing the passer, like freaking Warren Sapp. He's explosive. He's low to the ground. He's hard to block. When it's time to defend the run, Dad, remember the term gap integrity, like staying in your freaking gap? He just goes, he freelances. He has a feeling wherever he wants to go, he goes. So if you feel you can coach that out of him, then great. Absolutely. Get that guy. Also, he's like 295 pounds, which is a little small for a defensive tackle in the wide 9 where you're getting double teamed a lot. They could take him.
When Iggy said, I have a feeling, that was what Ronnie Lott used to tell Dwight Hicks. Cover for me, Dwight. I have a feeling. And the coaches would look around and say, what are you doing? That's not the play. I have a feeling. But he was Ronnie Lott. He had a feeling.
They could take a cornerback named Will Johnson. He went to Michigan. He won the national championship with Harbaugh. Only thing is that he didn't play much this last year. He had a bunch of injuries, like foot injuries. And then he didn't run a 40-yard dash. And then the little bit of athletic testing he did was freaking awful. Like his short shuttle was among like 13th percentile. And cornerbacks, they're kind of, running and moving is very important for them. And also he has like some of the shortest arms of any cornerback in the draft, like really short arms. But he was really good in 2023 at Michigan. You could have him.
They're not going to take a corner in the first round. They're not. They're not going to.
If they want to take a wide receiver, there's a guy who's actually really good. This guy, I really think this guy's good. He went to Arizona. His name is Ted McMillan. He's 6'4". He's 219 pounds. To me, he's like, he could do Brandon Ayuk's job so much better than Brandon Ayuk. He's a bigger, better Brandon Ayuk. And do they need to take a wide receiver in round 1? Absolutely not. It's just that he's really good. I think he's better than the guys I mentioned.
May we move on to round 2?
Certainly.
Okay. What do we got coming up in round 2?
Round 2. Well, what's interesting about this draft is it seems that defensive line in particular is extremely deep. So the prospects in round 2 aren't that much worse than the prospects in round 1. I mentioned Walter Nolan in round 1. In round 2, you could get TJ Sanders from South Carolina, who's same size, same production relatively, and isn't a freelancer, sticks to his gap. You could get someone like that.
Maybe they should take him.
Maybe that's the thing. They don't have to necessarily go defensive line in round 1 because they could go defensive line in round 2 and in round 3.
I love it.
But there's the word on the street, Dad, is that the Niners really like an edge rusher named David Walker. Now he's a small school guy. Went to Central Arkansas. But boy, did he produce every single year. Production for days, and played the Senior Bowl, and the Niners got a up close look at him. You can't discount that. The Niners have this guy, KJ Wright. He's going to be their defensive coordinator one day. I'm telling you, Dad. He's their next D'Amico Ryans, and he was there, and he saw this David Walker, and he really liked him. So round 3, Central Arkansas. That's the guy they're going to be looking. That's why I feel like they're not going to go edge rusher in round 1 because they got the Central Arkansas guy up their sleeve, Dad.
I love what you're saying, Iggy. You see, You're not only informing me, you're informing our viewers because you actually learn this stuff. I'm reading books like mysteries and stuff, 19th century English novels, and you're doing this?
Yeah, you are actually making yourself a more well-rounded human being. I am learning about prospects who I don't need to know about in 2 weeks when they're not in the Niners.
Okay. I admire it. Okay. So did we do round 3?
We got 2 picks in round 3. And here's the thing. They're going to focus on the trenches, right? We know that's the theme of the of the draft, trenches. Because they weren't good in the trenches last year and the Eagles were. So offensive line, defensive line, D-end, D-tackle, they're going to address those with the first 2 picks, but they need a running back, Dad. They need a running back. They could take a running back at 75 with their first 3rd round pick. And there are some options. The Niners love picking players from Arizona State because it's like Herm Edwards' program, and John Lynch and Herm Edwards are very, very close. So he trusts Herm Edwards. If he asks him, like, is this player good? And Herm Edwards says yes, he'll take him. Pearsall went there. Ayuk went there. They have a running back there from over by like Auburn. His name is Cam Skattebo, 5'9", 220 pounds, white guy. Kind of runs like Mike Allstott. Not that fast, but he hit like 1,500 yards last year, 500 receiving yards. He breaks tackles. He's very strong, and he's not a one-trick pony. He's a good receiver too. I think everyone kind of expects the Niners to take him in round 3. The Arizona State connection.
Tell me his name. Skattebo?
Cam Skattebo. He's from Northern California, played at Arizona State, and had an incredible season this year. He carried them pretty deep into the college football playoff.
I like that he breaks tackles.
He does. He breaks tackles like Debo used to break tackles. He's just not fast like Debo.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. So the thing about a guy like that, he's not a breakaway runner, but he'll get you 5, 6 yards
Yeah.
on average.
Yeah. Frank Gore wasn't really a breakaway runner.
No.
So, and I think they need to replace Jordan Mason. They had that big bruiser. Jordan Mason wasn't a breakaway runner. He was just relentless, and he'd give you 5 or 6 yards of carry. I think they might look to replace that particular skill set, and this could be Scattaboo, who's a little bit more of a receiver than Mason is.
You know, Iggy, I still don't understand why they got rid of Mason, but let's move on from that. Any other running backs they might take in that spot?
There's a guy I really like who's projected to get taken in round 4. His name is LaQuint Allen, and he played at Syracuse. And the reason I like him is because he's built like a wide receiver. And I think that's what makes McCaffrey so special. A guy who you could put him in at running back and he's good, but you could actually, before the play, motion him into the slot or motion him to wide receiver. I'm not just talking about like throw a screen to him or throw a swing pass to him. Like, no, now he's a wide receiver and he's 6 feet tall and he has long arms and he can run a slant or he can run an array of routes. That's what makes McCaffrey so dangerous and so difficult to match up with. Like, no one really has a player who can match up with him in all those different spots. And I think this is what LaQuint Allen can do. Not as well as McCaffrey, obviously, but he did really well in college. He had like 61 catches last year. That's a guy I like in round 4.